Start streaming. Let's get the party started here. Okay. So we should be starting in a moment. I'm going to just wait for a few people to say that they can hear me. More importantly, you can see me. Yeah, just let me know. Sounds alright, we'll kick starting. You shouldn't see anything more than just me standing here like a big Egypt. Can you confirm that you're seeing a big Egypt stand here? If you can hear me, I'm drinking out of my Ian Beale. I've got nothing left cup. Quite fitting, I find. Just give it a second. Hi. Hiya, Ian. Can you confirm, Ian, that you can hear me? We can see, but can you hear? Can see the Google page, yeah. Oh, you can see a Google page? Oh, all right. Okay. And can hear. So you can see a Google page? Okay. You shouldn't see a Google page. But, right. Okay. Well, today's live stream then is about Premier African Minerals. I think the content creation scene's gone a bit quiet. Let's just get straight into it. So let's try this. So now you should see, hopefully, see myself in the bottom corner and today's share price. Yeah, okay, Marcus, you can see, Rags, you can hear me. Okay, good. D, yeah, okay. Okay, now you're all saying that it's swerved across. Right, what the frig? I'm telling you. Not getting any better at these things, like. Let me see who switches back. Okay. If anybody is in the group that is actually good at doing these live streams, if they want to do a tutorial with me, I will pay them handsomely. Okay, I think you can see the Google page anyway. So we're sitting at 0.15 today. Maybe this down so I'm not shouting down. Just sitting at 0.15 today. We were actually recovered quite well. At one stage on the day, we were down at 5%. I actually think it was closer to 7%. That's what Google's saying. Not been the greatest month, let's be honest. Down 22%, being dilution through into that, further delays, all of that. But the purpose of this video is to look at the charts more than anything else, because it's quite interesting. It's actually very interesting. So what we're going to look at here is the actual performance itself. This is a level that we were talking about in the Discord today, and the Discord kind of blew up. We were got a bit heated, not heated, but a bit serious for you know, the day after a bank holiday. You know, a lot of engagement today about it, a lot of talking about it, and some great points put across by everybody. But what I wanted to say to people was, be wary of the share price. Excuse me. My voice is going, like, so hopefully you didn't hear that cough. I muted you, I think. If you look at this here, this is a channel that goes way back a long time. Now this is where we're at with Prem at the moment. We're having to look back at previous support and resistance level. And as I was saying today, you could probably say around 0.14, a wee bit of desperation to say it, but you're probably saying that's the bottom of this channel. We haven't really ever tested it, so it's not going to be the strongest support level. But you can see here, one area, two areas, we did break above it, but we kind of went back and then we touched it. So I'm fairly confident to say that this 0.13, but in and around 0.13, 0.14 should be, in theory, good, strong support. Okay, so that's your first positive from a technical point of view. Your second bullish point, if we just purely focus on the RSI, now this probably looks mental to a lot of people, but RSIs effectively, when it gets to these areas, this is when you become oversold. Okay, so you're oversold in all these areas. Then what happens? It usually now tends to go up, and you can kind of see that, you know, it goes up, went up. That was just a freak drop, to be honest. It goes up. So history has kind of shown that usually when you get to these oversold areas, there will be a rise. And if we strip that back then to the main charts where I've drew these lines now, if we just focus on that, what the fuck's going on here? Trying to make this a bit more easier for you to see. So if you focus on just those where I drew those lines, where are we? What happened to the share price? Well, we drew oversold. What happened? We pumped. And if we measure that pump from the bottom to the top, then that's one hell of a good rise. And this is back in September 30th, 2019. I mean, that's a ridiculous rise. This area here, again, sort of sold off what about here. Didn't go on the greatest of runs, but 168% rise. Now if you go over to here, this is where the MACD looked good. We'll talk about the MACD in a moment. But just to flip it the other way, when it gets up to these areas, mass sell-off, this is where you should take profits. And if you look here, what happened? You can see we got up in and around this area. It was saying, get out, you're well overbought. Too many people are buying, this will sink. And it did sink, went down 75%. So if you look at the RSI on this chart and correlate it back to the actual what the price has done, you will see that it kind of always matches. Not always, nothing's ever a sure thing. If there was, we would all be multimillionaires. But oversold, run 117, oversold, which was down about what, say here. Well, if it's that one, we did get a run 62, then it went back down again, so there was another drop here, and then what did we get? We got a run 113. Kind of went sideways, then here it sold off, which then caused the RSI to go down to this area, and then what happened after the RSI kind of went to this plateau area? It then roughly about 127%. So what I'm trying to say is we've had our run, we've had our pump up, kind of just consolidated, went sideways, went down, consolidated, sideways, went down. Now sideways, we're back into this area. So with this being previous support going back years, what's the probabilities likely to say? Well, it's saying nothing because I can't draw. I don't. If you are keeping up with me, forgive me if when you're doing this live, you're under pressure, guys. Pressure. The world's watching, right? Let's see. So, fuck, anticlimax now, like. But what I'm trying to say is, it'll go back up to about this level of 0.23, and at the level we're at now, we should say we'll mark it about there, about a 64%, just to get to there. I would fully, and I'm saying this, fully anticipate, not necessarily going to say you're getting 64.43, but I would fully anticipate that we should maybe fall to 0.3. You know, I'm not saying right now upwards. I'm saying give it or take. We're reaching that period where this maybe really starts to look like this. You know, we already just dipped in and then it rallied. Are we there yet? Is today perhaps the last sell off, if you want to say that? Get it all out and then we're going to bounce? Potentially. Because we're going to look now at the MACD. Now the MACD is another one where it crosses over, upwards or downwards. It means the other way around. So again, if it crosses over, we go down. Crosses over, we go down. Crosses over, like here. If I can move this out of the way. Crosses over, we go up, we go up. And again, I'll not draw all the lines because I think you get the message here. correlates. So if we look at, I'll just look at these two. This one here, this one here. What happened to the share price? This would say it should go up, up, up. Okay, that will tie up. These things will tie up. And here you can kind of see we crossed over to the downside. No, sorry, to the upside. It's a bit of a stretch to say that that was an up week, but let's have a look. I'm sure it probably kind of was. So where did it cross over? It crossed over about here. Our buy symbol came on 9% or something. You know, it was a kind of an up week, but more so sideways. Now we've crossed over here, so a sell-off should come. You can see here we roughly started showing a sell-off about here. My buy symbol or sell symbol came in already, and then we've sold off. So what I'm looking for is perhaps this MACD to hurry up and catch up, because that's still saying bearish. But who's to say that this line doesn't come down, this line then starts to go like this, and then it goes up. That's the crossover that I'm looking for. Volume is to the downside right now, but volume is only started going to the downside. But if you look at the other indications, and there's one that I really want to show you, is if I just get rid of all this here, because it's probably a bit messy to see. If I put on the falling wedge, this is another, now I have to get the disclaimer out there, it's more bullish when it's in a bull run, and a bull run ends when you fall below this. Now this is actually it's normally the 200 day. I work on the 180 day because it allows me to get in and out of trades before it reaches the 200, because normally most people are looking at a 200. But that aside, this would only be ever so slightly higher anyway. But this would be your 200. Once it falls below that, you're in a bear run. So we've been in a bear run since we fell below in June 23, a year ago. And those that are in the trading course will have exited this trade back in June and would have saved themselves about 78%. I didn't do that because I'm a bag holder. I like holding bags, and I love high risk African mining companies. It just gets me going. So I like to see my money go down. But thank God it's only paper money, because we don't play with real money. None of this is financial advice, obviously. But this aside, that's what happens. Bull run, or sorry, a bear market. Bear market, that's just the way the reality of it is. Now, if we turn that back on, the falling wedge goes back. This has been going back for a long time. May 23. So in the last year, we have entered this falling wedge. And a falling wedge, I'll just actually know what it is. Proper education here. Should be charging, right? So falling wedge. Let's see. Give you the proper idea of it. So there's where there, right? So the falling wedge, risk goes up, downtrend as a correction, and then the rising trend again. Once you break out of it, that's a bullish thing, and then you measure. And the way you measure its trade would be by the top wick to the bottom wick, put it on, and that gives you your target. And that's effectively what's happened here. Now, this is a built-in feature that I pay for on TradingView, but I'll show you what you would do if you don't have these types of features. You would just draw the lines yourself. It's not rocket science. Like, you just draw from the top to the bottom, and then the bottom to the top. So you would just draw those lines and identify that this is a falling wedge, and you just go from the low ends. And then what you do is roughly put this line to here, and then if I lift that to the break of the wedge, voila, there's your target. So that's effectively how it works, but that's a built-in indicator that's doing it for us. So what you'll see here is the target on the falling wedge is going to bring us back to the glorious days of 1. And I'm sure most people like myself would be more than happy with a 533% rise. Now, let's bring us to the weekly chart. And it's bringing us to the same thing. The only thing we're looking for now is this pump. Now, if we go back to what I was saying about the price target, where likely could this go based on the support and resistance levels? Well, look, and if I can zoom in, can you see that? This level would bring us above this wedge, and this wedge should, even though it's in a bear market, should still be a bullish sign that this stock should pump upwards. So the RSI is nearly there. We're waiting on the MACD. I think when the MACD gets there, it will confirm. It'll push us up, hopefully to about 0.2-ish. That then should bring us out of the wedge. And the wedge then is indicating about, 1p. I'm sure most of us will be more than happy if it even just got to 0.6 or something. So that's the technical analysis. And if you want to go away on the basis of that and sing zippity doo dah, have a final day, do that now. If you want to hear maybe a more bearish scenario, then stay tuned. I'll give you a second to make your decision. With 30 people here cheering, let's go. I'll take a few questions. What's happening? Oh, no questions, just everybody listening attentively. None of you in work. You're all Skyping today, are you? Good God. Okay, now the second part. Bearish case scenario. This 0.13, 0.14 just doesn't hold up. It's like a wet paper bag. You'll see, I've drew this next level, which is going to bring us down to about, well, I'll draw the percentage drop. 80.54, 80% drop. Now, there will be bumps along the road. That is worst case scenario. There will be about a jump about there, which will bring us to about 0.05. And if we really look at this and go in, you're really looking back to this area for your support. If we strip this out and see, like if you go back to the time of the dinosaurs, we've never really been at these levels before. So it's hard, which works in favor kind of, because we've never been so low. It's hard to see any real support. So it wouldn't be unimaginable that if we broke through, it would fall down to those levels. Now, a key thing people like to look at is volume. Volume is important. With no volume, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. So we can turn on the volume. We'll turn off the falling wedge indicator for now. And we will turn on, see, what do you want to watch? Okay, turn on the volume. No, turn on the volume. No. Not that one, actually. There's a better one that I like. Where is it? That one. Okay, let's just bring this up then. These lines suggest that there is a lot of buying pressure. A lot of buying. Now, if you see further up, 0.4, not a lot of buyers. Started getting a bit more, but this level, there is a lot of people all around here buying a lot of shares of Prem. And if we look this out and go into the weekly chart, again, look at the difference here. No one was buying around these levels, because you know why no one was buying around these levels? Because it was ludicrous to be buying around those levels, because we were in this area. So this crazy area, look, it's crossing over, it's telling us to get out. Massively overbought. This is right at the peak, 0.1. The good times are coming. We're going to production. Well, fucking no one was buying. Because smart money knows not to get caught up in FOMO. Yeah, don't get caught up in FOMO. Smart money wasn't buying. The big players were getting the fuck out of Dodge. But look where they're buying now. So there's a lot of people buying paper trading of Prem right now. In and around these levels. They're probably seeing what I'm seeing. What you've got to hope for is this to change. If this changes, or we see that kind of bottom of 0.13, then that's got to be bullish. And I'm going to try and now finish with something else if I can make it work. Can I make it work? Can I make it work? You should now be seeing a still image of me, but hopefully that is refreshed so you can see me in all my glory this fine Tuesday morning. Let's take some questions here quickly. That's no a falling wedge. It's a share in free fall because of dilution and debt and failed plant. I didn't read out anything to do with failed plant. That's not a technical indicator. You need to show me where it says dilution indicator or failed plant indicator. So when we're talking about charts, we're talking about charts. We'll talk about the fundamentals in a moment, but that is a falling wedge. So that's nonsense. Day traders. So this is work. Ah, nice one, Darren. Nice one, Sam. Well, that's it. It's a full-time job. Full-time job. Let's see. Paul, any pump due to do you reckon? Any pump due do you reckon? Well, we'll talk about that in a wee second. We need confirmation from Prem, not my opinion. I'm bullish, but maybe that's because I'm after a big return. And confirmation and working capital are the key here. Okay, well, I trust you can see me now. So fundamentally, where am I at with it? I mean, it's apparent. I'm not going to talk too much about George Roach and the management and all the hiccups because it's been well covered. I've been probably, you would think I'm a bear the way I've been on Prem the last 8 months. When we got delayed this time last year-ish, I was fine with the initial delay. After about 3 months, the grace period started to wear thin, and I think definitely after the 6 month period, I was exhausted with it. I just seen it as nonsense. What, about 2.5 months ago then, Stark were sacked. They were the scapegoats. We all remember, George, the extra 29th day, the leap year. I won't need the 29th, and the wink at the camera. Now we're looking at July for the next hope. So I suppose from my point of view, still holding, still on the dream. And I do think, if I was a betting man, gun to the head, I do think we'll still be rewarded eventually. But the question I'm asking myself is, if I had a new this time last year, what would have come? Would you have kept the money in? And the answer is obviously no. Of course you wouldn't have. But I mean, from a fundamental point of view, it's changed that much. If fundamentally, and that's what I was saying to a lot of guys, don't be beating yourself up. If you've bought into Prem, you've bought into the story and the reason for holding long, you shouldn't be feeling bad about that, because everything you've bought into originally would have been great. However, you know, we are where we are, and again, go and watch them videos. I think it's been quite positive, and I don't want to bring the tone down, but I'm at the point where I'm looking at the position. Like most people, my average is 0.389, so it's 0.39 for talk's sake. So I'm obviously down. I'm well down. 60% of the position is gone. So you can look at it. I'm holding blind faith and I'm waiting. I wish I will. I'll hold on and wait. But I'm only going to wait for this last opportunity till July. I think fundamentally, if we don't get there in July, then I'm probably going to tap out of 80% of the position. Now, that's been something that I've wanted to do since iWeb didn't put my order through at 0.39. So when was the last time we were at 0.39? Back in February. So I've been waiting. Excuse me. I've been waiting since February. That order never went through for whatever reason, shafted me, and it's sunk like a stone. I wanted to try and get out at that period with a good chunk of my money, because fundamentally the thing's changed massively. The resource is still there, yes. Of course, that's not changed. But the CEO, the lies, the nonsense, I feel it's just wore a bit thin for me. So for me, I would like to try and get out of Prem with a good chunk of the money. So I'm looking for these things to play out. I'm not going to be greedy, and I will even potentially take a loss, a substantial enough loss to take some of my money off the table as soon as I feel it's ready. And I feel that there's two fundamental things coming up. A, I hope we won't get diluted further. Don't forget, we have 1.5 million-ish every month going out. Very little coming in. There's a bit of crappy resource that he's trying to sell that I'm reading, and I understand that it's pretty much just costing us to make the stuff. So yeah, it's fundamentally has changed. You shouldn't beat yourself up if you bought in, because they've not delivered. They've not done their part. You've done your part as a shareholder. You've backed them through thick and thin. They have not done it. These are high risk penny stocks, AIM stocks, huge risk. Anyone that's been following the channel from the start, we picked 5. All we needed really was 1 to hit. That was the intention. And the intention was to hold to 2030. But a part of that holding period has got to be from them delivering. And you can allow for some delay, and you give excuses. It's a penny stock, it's high risk, it's construction in Africa. Christ, you have to allow for it. That's fine. But for me, I feel like I've got to the point where it's no, you're doing more now. This isn't just blind faith. This is starting a bit ridiculous. And the way I put it into the Discord today was, I was going, like, okay, yeah, you don't want to take the loss. You're massively down. I understand that. It's something that it's very hard to break down in the head to take a loss. But if you had this, say you put 20 grand in, it's sitting at 5, right? Of paper money, by the way, because it's not real. So if you've 5 grand of monopoly money here, would you put that 5 grand in as a new position in the Prem right now? I wouldn't. So should I leave that money in right now? No. Yes, there's a huge loss, but that loss is there, and it could get a lot worse before it gets any better, if better, ever. And I know people are saying, well, there's resources worth this, and Zulu could be bought over, and all that could be true. But at what price? What I would like to see bullish scenario is George puts his hand in his back pocket to go, guys, listen, you know what it is? I'm invested as much as you in this project. As a show of faith, I'm going to put my hand in my back pocket, and I'm going to put this money in to get us through. Because I believe mid-July we're going to get there. And if you need, or for Lord forbid, if he needs another month, he's at least funding it. That would show a huge amount of faith. That would get a positive reaction from the share price. But for him to come along and go, delay, and we're going to have to, fund this from diluting you further, it's gonna sink. So fundamentally, there is potentially catalysts that could get it going. Something like a George Roach could have funded himself. Something like just the plant and everything getting better and going ahead by the end of June, if we can get the issues sorted, and then the 2 weeks to set it all up, and all those things fall in line, it could pump. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm going, right, okay, the next 4 weeks, this could take a bit of time. I mean, there's nothing that says this is going to pump tomorrow. There's nothing to say it's going to fall below. It could just kind of tittle along. It can maybe go up a bit, and then maybe in a month's time, you're sitting around these levels. So it could take time. It's not necessarily just going to pump 60% tomorrow. So we could just be floating around this channel to that news. Good news, it breaks out. We break out of the wedge. We're taking off. Bad news, it could go down. I'm watching it very closely for the reasons that I've said, and I'm watching it very, very closely for the indications that I need to see. And I feel that this time I'm going to trade Prem. Unlike the blind faith and the fundamentals and hoping for the best, I'm trading Prem right now to try and get myself out of a position with the least amount of damage. I will leave in money, no doubt, leave it in money, still content with that. But in terms of the risk exposure, the risk reward ratio it's way too one-sided. And that's where I'm at. Can't be any more honest than that. I hope you can see what I'm seeing, and it's good to have a debate and talk about it. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Load of engagement, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. So let's see. Do you think he's the right man for the job? He feels like his shareholders and being treated as a joke is not right. Is he the right man for the job? Just watch the other videos and that will give you the answer, I think. I'll talk about George. He's a generic. He just bought out the door. Geriatric. Sorry, generic. What you said there. If I wasn't in it, would I go in now? Well, I think I've answered the question. Kind of. I would go in it once if that MACD crosses over. I would definitely put all my paper money in for a big trade. Not all my money, but I would definitely be looking at this for a trade, because we've seen what way it can pump. We can see what technically it has done before. The only issue is with round Prem is there's just so much news that comes out from any time, and it has massive impacts on the share price up or down. George does a stop box interview. God almighty, run to the hills. So it's risky, even from a technical point of view. You just don't know, because news can always come out at any time. But I wouldn't want to be not out of it, put it that way. I wouldn't want to be out of it regardless, because I feel like we're potentially at a bottom. And if you're buying at the bottom, well, there's only one way from the bottom. Usually it's upwards. Do I think we're going to go bust anytime soon or anything like that? No, I'm not worried about, the coming through administration. The guys are coming to take the plant away. We're not at that stage. We've got good liquidity. We've got a good shareholder fan base. George Roche is, whatever you think about him, he's, long in the tooth, well in the game. CanMax aren't going to walk away from this because it's a win-win from them. George Ibert delivers and they get part of their agreement plus all the add-ons that's come from the delays. Or they get the company and just buy the whole resource at dirt cheap. So they're not going to go away. They're more than happy. And they, if they wanted to be bullish, they have the money and probably the resource to step in and help out as well. So no, I don't think there's anything from that. If that was a risk, if I felt like, here, we could go bust next week, you pull out. And I'll keep you informed if I feel like that opinion changes. So no, I feel like if you're only entering at this trade right now, I wouldn't be going, maybe 5%, 10% of my portfolio, kind of, adverse to risk. But I'd wait for that MACD potentially to cross over. But you can never quite time these things. So if you're thinking about it, it wouldn't be the worst thing probably to throw a few quid in. You're not going to probably lose much either way if it was to go down, and you're probably more upside than downside at this stage. My biggest worry is that when George Roche finally burns through all the additional shares and still have issues, are the Chinese going to call his repayment knowing that George Roche has no more cards? The only thing about the CanMax agreement that I always feared was the force majeure. It's a dirty taste that's probably still in their mouth. So will they really want to do him a favour? And I feel like all the previous times we're talking about support, that CanMax, they've been very good and all this. His tone, his language has almost become a wee bit kissy arse, which I'm fine with. He needs to kiss all the arse you need to, George. But it was a wee bit different initially. It was a wee bit more, I'm the man kind of guy. Yeah, that's kind of changed a wee bit, and probably for the better. But I'm wondering, is that a bit of a panic maybe, that he knows you need to really keep these guys on side? But I don't think CanMax will walk away. I'd be truly stunned if CanMax just went, we're moving on. They're not really losing anything. Put it this way, the money that they've already got in, if they walk away, they're pretty much going to lose that anyway, because I don't think Prem can turn this around without them. And I think like they've got more to lose by walking away. So that's, no, I think CanMax will be there. But the only fear is they maybe will just have George over a barrel and just go 40, 50 million. That's it. That's all you're getting. And George goes, dead on. I'll take it. So you've got that as a risk, I suppose. Let me see here. Okay, let's see what last couple of questions here. Completely agree. A penny stock, you have to be mega patient and allow for time. But George Roche has treated us with I feel that's it, and I think a lot of people just feel a bit heartbroken by it, because we've seen what's happened. If you follow the charts, you see news leaks. His mates, everybody knows before we know. We're the ones that are deluded. We're the ones that are pumping, doing our best to keep the thing going, and we're the ones ultimately left holding the bags, because the share price reacts good or bad before news comes out. It's definitely manipulation, but it doesn't make it right. But it's kind of what you expect with penny AIM stocks, isn't it? So it's never going to probably change, even though it should. A lot of talking about Kodal. I don't want to compare them. I'm still in Kodal, by the way. We talk about it in the Discord. I bought there about a month ago. It's ratio wise, I used to have a brilliant bigger position in Kodal. Convinced myself Prem maybe rotated it around. That was a mistake, and anyone's in the Discord will know I've been saying for about the last 8 months, just waiting for Prem to move a bit, then I'm going to rotate and balance the portfolio up a bit. Well, not quite worked out, but listen, you still trust the other companies. While one African miner has been a bit of a disaster, we know they tried to cut corners and didn't do the DFS, and yeah, it's maybe proven now that Kodal's done it the right way. I'm just glad to be in Kodal, and Kodal I'm green on, thank God, as well, which is nice. So like I said, just need one to hit. So fingers crossed Kodal can do it. Will Stark pay out for their failures? Like, I can't comment on what the agreement is. Obviously, if there's been a breach of contract, there'll be some sort of but it's one of these ones, these startup companies and stuff. You know, if people don't have the money, it's all well and good going for money, but if they don't have it, then they'll not pay it. Who knows? Can't comment on. Don't know. Thoughts on EPO area and well, yeah, like I mean that's the thoughts on the resource, the thoughts on the projections, the thoughts on what they could do and what they can do. At this stage, it's all if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything because everything that I've heard come out of the man's mouth, about 80% of it hasn't materialized for one reason or another. Whether it's his fault or not, that's open to debate. But it's very, very hard to. Like lithium is such a very common mineral. It's not like gold or something where it's like rare. It's not rare. Huge big site, fantastic. I would love us to get the license and start to produce it. Then you start to go, okay, now we've got something here. But right now, it doesn't really mean a lot unless you can get it out of the ground and start doing it. You know, a lot of the works is in producing it rather than, you know, just having it to your feet kind of thing, in layman's terms. The benefits of hindsight, what should Prem have done differently? Just don't look what all are doing. I'll say no more. Maybe not took risks on what the special technology, new type of technology we're trying out now. Why? You've never done anything to this magnitude ever before, George. Why are you taking risks on with doing things that are, you know, special or whatever? Roach has been an absolute disaster for the last 8 years. Wasting money hand over fist and is corrupt, negligent and incompetence. I don't know. I would nearly say about the last 11 years, but like in George we trust. He's the CEO. I have to give the man his props. And he's obviously said enough to either he's said enough to Camax or Camax know him well enough to go, this will work out well for us, we'll back him. I don't know. We will never know. But right now, I think there's enough in the charts. Wait for that RSI to cross. I'm showing you, and you're not even looking at the screen anyway. Keep an eye on the charts crossing over. At this stage, if you're thinking about selling, I would hold on and see what way this next few weeks play out. It's only paper money anyway, so you're never going to lose it. And if you're thinking about buying, I wouldn't be afraid of having a nibble, definitely, because I feel like there's a good technical point of view, and there could be huge fundamentals that come up. You know, we can't be that friggin' far from it. We really can't be, surely, the Christ. So that's what I keep thinking as well. But I feel this time around doesn't happen, and there was. See, the thing is, if he announces dilution, the share price sinks, and then you're at the same point. I'll keep you informed. As soon as I do anything, I'll let you know. I'm still holding. Haven't sold a thing. Have not bought a thing in a long time, and I will not be putting more money into this. Not anytime soon. But that's only because I'm so heavily invested. Like I said, if it didn't have much in it or didn't have a position, and it was on the radar, you know, it's looking from a technical point of view like something could happen here. So we'll cross the fingers and toes. Just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. That was a good live stream. Really surprised at how many people tuned in at this time on a Tuesday. Thanks everyone. If you can bang a wee like or something just to share the love, that would be good. If you haven't subscribed and all that, do it. And I'll chat to you all in the next video. And yeah, just trade safe, know what your plans are, and yeah, don't